Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name's GBay99. Today, we have a bit of a relaxed video. This is the last video I'm making. I'm making like 4 or 5 videos today, and I am pretty tired, so I thought I'd wind down the day with a little bit of a chill video talking to you guys about a subject that has, of course, been on my mind for a while, as it feels like I say in every one of my videos. Today, I want to talk to you guys about being a kid. So, I have been told by many people over the years that I act very childish. Sometimes they say this in a really positive way, but of course sometimes they say it in a kind of negative way. I definitely see what they mean when I take a look at myself. So for instance, there are some areas where I feel very mature, where I feel like I act very mature. I do a good job with managing finances generally. I mean, I invest my money pretty smartly. I do a pretty good job of budgeting out my savings every month and, setting money aside for savings, and I know my way around the financial world, it feels like. So there are definitely areas where I'm a mature adult, but there are also areas where I'm very childish. I feel like Catbug sometimes. I am a very, very goofy, kid-like person, and sometimes this is in really positive ways, and sometimes it's in negative ways. Like, a negative way is I generally am really bad about doing something I don't want to do. That might sound like a really stupid statement, but for instance, with YouTube, I love making videos, but I will not make a video if I don't want to make it. I cannot make a standard series of videos. I've tried to do series in the past, but the only series that I ever actually saw all the way through was the Art of League series, where I talked about the art of war and pertaining it to League of Legends, which was a series that, even finishing that was a bit of a struggle for me, because if I don't feel like I want to make something, if I feel like something is becoming too samey or too similar, then I generally get bored of it, and if I don't want to make another episode, then it's really hard for me to force myself to do so. All the videos I release are things that I want to do. But even just on the business end of YouTube, YouTube has always kind of been a hobby for me, even if it was something that I kind of wanted to turn into a career. It's always been a hobby, first and foremost, or something that I've found fun. Making videos is the fun part, so sometimes I'll have to do something on the business end of YouTube, like fill out some form or try and apply for a media pass to some event or something, so I can go, and I just procrastinate. Even with collabs with other content creators, there's this guy Jeremy from Gaming Curious who I mentioned in an earlier video. He has been bugging me to do a collab with him for a very long time, and I told him yeah, and I'm like really excited at the thought of doing a collab with him, but actually getting down to the business of making a collab with him is something that I'm having a really hard time with. Sorry, Jeremy. So there are definitely negatives to being like a childlike person who only really does things that he wants to do, but there are also a lot of positives to it as well. I generally view the world in a very optimistic way. I'm happy all the time. I love it. That doesn't mean I don't get angry or frustrated or whatever, but I'm a very optimistic person and a very happy person a lot of the times, cheerful person in life. Like, my default setting is happy, compared to plenty of teenagers. Their default setting is like moody or depressed or closed off or whatever. I'm generally a very happy, open person. Again, though, that just might be me being from the Midwest or whatever. But so obviously there's a lot of positives to it, right? There's a lot of positives. One positive, though, that is something that I've been thinking about recently, that I've kind of noticed a lot of people lack this, is a lot of people out there, I've noticed, especially a lot of people that played World of Warcraft, really feel like video games are becoming less fun as they grow up. So, for instance, people that played World of Warcraft in Vanilla or Cataclysm or Wrath of the Lich King or whatever, they look at the game now, not Mist of Pandaria, but Warlords of Draenor was not that good of an expansion for a lot of people, and WoW's subscribers have dropped off dramatically because of it. And I've talked to I've watched a number of streams and talked to a number of people that played WoW, and a lot of them just sort of feel like video games in general are becoming a lot less fun. WoW is becoming a lot less fun for them, and they also say they can't find another video game that captivates them in the same way. They can't find another video game that really gets them so excited at the thought of playing it. You guys remember, I'm sure, being a kid and finding your first video game that you really loved, that you really held on to, and you're like, wow, this is fun. I want to spend every second of free time I have in this video game. a lot of people can't find that video game anymore. And a lot of people are saying that it's something that video games are just in general becoming less fun, and that might be the case. But I think part of it is also they're becoming adults, right? I think part of it is they've sort of lost that sort of childlike wonder that you kind of have to go into in certain video games to get immersed in them and to find that sense of excitement and wonder, especially stepping into MMOs. If you step into an MMO with an adult's perspective of like, okay, I'm going to go into this game, I'm going to figure out how to, the best optimal strategies for PvP or PvE or whatever, I'm going to conquer this video game. Something like that, you are not going to have the same kind of fun, and you're not going to get latched onto it in the same way, where if you go in with a sense of childlike wonder of, this is a giant world where I can do whatever the hell I want, let's go fucking explore. Like, that's the kind of attitude that you have to go into an MMO with to really enjoy it. And I feel like that's the kind of attitude you really have to get latched onto a video game for a while. It doesn't even have to be an MMO. It can be something like a MOBA, like League of Legends or Dota 2, or it can be single player games. Like, there's one game in specific that I'm very, very much looking forward to coming out, and I think it's kind of because I've sort of, I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm some sort of superior jerk by saying this, but I think it's important to keep holding on to that sort of sense of childlike wonder at least a little bit as you mature as a person. Like, for instance, for me, I really still have that competitive drive to want to find a video game that I can really dedicate time to and get really good at. I've been, like, League of Legends has always been that for me, and it's always been quite fun, but I've also kind of been wanting to get into another video game that maybe has a smaller community and something fresh that's not a MOBA. That I've been playing MOBAs for 5 years now, and I'm going to obviously keep playing them forever, probably, but I also want to find some other things to, spice up my gaming life. And one game that I'm very much looking forward to is Rivals of Aether, which is coming out for PC on Steam Early Access this September, or late September, I think the guy said. Which it's like a fighting game that's inspired by Super Smash Bros. Melee, and it's meant to be like really aggressive with a lot of really aggressive play, and there's going to be like a ranked ladder, and I'm going to climb to the top of that ladder, and I have that kind of childlike wonder and ambition to like get into a competitive video game and still, want to get really good at it and see how good I can get and see how high I can rise on a ladder. Or, single player games, there are plenty of amazing single player games that come out that I always just love throwing myself into and getting lost in and staying up till 2 a.m. and playing forever and ever. And I think that's something that is really important to hold on to, as I've said like a million times in this video now, but it's also something that I want to kind of encourage you guys to do so as well. There's this one quote from Picasso that I've always remembered. Picasso as an artist, I actually don't even like that much. I took all these art classes in school and everything. I've always preferred Matisse to Picasso, who were like rivals. But there's this one quote from Picasso where he said, "Every child is an artist. The trouble is remaining an artist when you grow up." And I've always found that to be very true, especially like as someone who's been growing up and going into adulthood. When you're a kid, it's almost natural to just look at the world with optimism and wonder and excitement at, what adventures might you meet tomorrow. But as you grow up, there's especially when you go through puberty and when people get on your backs and say, you got to become an adult, you got to know what you're going to do with your life, you got to plan out your life and get a career and find a wife and kids and settle down and retire and die. And you can get depressed. There's this depressing reality that's lurking overhead. But I don't think that depressing reality is really there. I think that you can still definitely face life in the same way that you can as a kid, with a sense of childlike wonder, with that sort of sense of being an artist, an artist being someone that looks at the world and sees beauty, not just depressing reality or whatever, whatever depressing thing that there is that might be, that you might be worrying about, whether it's getting a job and working 9 to 5 and then just trying to pay off college debts and then, going and just working this job and then being bored with it and not being able to just sit around and play video games all day. But this sense of childlike wonder that you're still going to have all these adventures that you're going to meet in the upcoming days, that you never know what adventure you might be taking next. I think that's a really important thing to hang on to. And I hope you guys are able to keep on to that as you grow up. We've had a theme over these past few videos of talking about growing up and all that kind of stuff. But I guess that's sort of something I want to just sort of say to you guys today. When you grow up, I mean, you guys are all sorts of ages, so you're all at different stages in your life. But as you move forward in life, make sure you definitely mature as a person, become financially responsible, pay your taxes, save money, all that kind of stuff. But always keep that sense of childlike wonder. Always keep that sense of adventure that you never really know what kind of adventure you're going to go on next. I think that's an important thing to hold on to, and I hope you guys are all able to hold on to it like I have tried to make sure that I grasp it tightly in my fist and never let go. Anyway, though, today's video has gone on quite long. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching. I will, of course, see you all tomorrow, but until then, thank you very much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.